Absolute Batman issue 16, Scott Snyder writing with Nick Dragotta on art. And notably, this is the second kind of Batman Wonder Woman crossover issue that were sort of divided between the two books. And the only real connection to the last one here is, well, one, they've already met, so they kind of know each other already. And two, Batman uses that talisman thing that she gave him to call upon her. Which she does say that has limited uses. Like, it's not like something you can use forever. So I don't know if it ever gets too specific as to like, oh, is it only got one more use left? Or, you know, has it got three more uses left?
Enough,
yeah,
to use as if he needs to use it as a break in case of emergency, he can. But if a writer wants to use it as an excuse to bring in Wonder Woman, they could do that too. You know, I like it. I will say Dragotta's Wonder Woman is definitely the most massive she's been, and I love it. I love it, the style that he brings. Like the first page you see her, she takes up like this whole big panel. It's great. Like, I just love the presence.
I mean, all of his characters are big, so
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but like we know Absolute Wonder Woman already from her book, right? She's already quite sizable in there. You know, she's a big, tall, you know, powerful woman. Here, though, she definitely has that, you know, same build as Batman here, which I do like. So seeing Dragotta draw her was cool.
Yeah, so a big part of this issue is Batman feeling guilty about what's happened to all of his friends. He tries to visit Penguin and Two-Face, and Oswald basically grills him out and says you were too busy saving your city to save any of your friends, and you're not your father, kind of thing. Like, really gets in his face about it. And Two-Face doesn't exactly stick up, and I say Two-Face, Harvey Dent doesn't really exactly stick up for him, you know. So
no.
It's a very sad scene. It's a very kind of like scene where, you know, Bruce can't even look at him in the eye. He's kind of got his head ducked down with his hat covering his face, and they call him out in that. It's like, oh, you can't even look at me. So that ends up being kind of the inciting incident where he wants to try and help one of his friends that something bad's happened to, and it ends up being particularly Croc, Wayland, that he wants to help. So that's why he calls in Wonder Woman. He's like, hey, my friend went through this transformation. He turned from a human into this giant beast. I want to try and do something to help fix that and make him more human again. Is that possible? And Diana's like, well, there's nothing on this plane of existence, but I guess there is something we could do in the space between Earth and Hell. There is like this place we could go and find this artifact. And, you know, it will be hard. It'll take some time. And Batman's like, oh, I just got back to my job. I can't disappear for too long. She's like, oh, don't worry. Time works differently. Which, funnily enough, was the same rule that was in the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Hell dimensions, the time moved at a much quicker rate than the world. So you could be there for weeks and weeks and come back and only, you know, a few hours would have passed on Earth. So we're doing a little bit more of that time dilation kind of effect. So yeah, it ends up being this journey. Like them, you know, she does a spell, they go into this other land, and it's kind of a journey through the desert, and there's some humor, there's some getting to know each other. Obviously it skips past a lot of it, but you get the sense that he's telling her his backstory about his dad dying, that kind of thing. There's a little bit of like comedy where she spends like a page saying, oh, don't do that, that'll kill you, don't walk on that, that'll kill you, don't do that, that'll kill you. And then she says one more thing, and don't do this, and he's like, oh, let me guess, it'll kill me. No, it would just be rude. Why would it kill you? Like, I was like, okay, that was a funny little payoff to like a page of build up.
Well, yeah, I like that. So the thing that ends up being is don't look the Cyclops in the eye. As they're passing this Cyclops that has this tree resting on its shoulder like a club. And after she says, no, it's just impolite, why would he kill you? There's a small panel of the Cyclops looking over his shoulder, and I just thought that was so well timed. You know, that Snyder and Dragotta working in unison so well.
Yeah, and we get reminded about Croc, because Alfred goes to feed him, and Croc's clearly thinking about eating Alfred, so it's a whole kind of horror movie little moment. But it kind of, you know, it's reminding the audience of what Batman's trying to do here. This is the one that he thinks he can maybe help by going through this trial and tribulation. Having said that, on the way there, Diana decides to give him like a weird vision quest type moment, where he gets to kind of speak to his dad in a sense. Where she puts the coins on his eyes, which is set up this, like, the whole idea of the coins over the eyes being like the payment to get carried across the river Styx and all that. So she puts the coins on his eyes when he's asleep, and then we see like kid Bruce Wayne with his Batman outfit on that's too big for him, taking it off, and Thomas Wayne talks to him. I guess the main thing he really says here is that he never really considered what he did that day that he died as like saving all the kids there and then. It was more that every day before that he was saving Bruce by like making him ready for the world, for protecting him, for doing all this stuff. And basically trying not to put too much importance on that one day, like every day kind of mattered, kind of thing.
Yeah.
The commitment is what mattered, and it's kind of like, the commitment of what Batman is. It's kind of giving him all this. Interesting thing visually here is they end up standing on basically an origami bat that's kind of floating in the clouds.
Yeah, that was the bridge design that he had won the contest with, is why they were at the zoo.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay. Right.
Because he had based it and it was movable, because it could shift the parts that make like the road to make wings, and it was a movable bridge in case of emergency and whatnot. So yeah, and Bruce had made it out of paper. So the idea that, again, the undercurrent of the story is that these bridges, right? Like they're going to this bridge to fight this keeper for this cure for Croc, right? And that Bruce is this care for everybody is kind of his bridge between Bruce and Batman, and that commitment is what he kind of needs to focus in on to be the best version of himself. So I really like all of that storytelling, and then to cap it with that bridge here, with him and his dad standing on top of it, right in the middle. That was a nice moment.
Yeah. Diana, like, doing this, like, and obviously she doesn't know exactly what he's going to see, I assume, but the idea that she's like, I'm going to like give him this chance to go across, and if it's not his father, then whoever he needs to speak to, like, it'll take him there, kind of thing. I don't know, I thought that was a nice little touch. And yeah, so they get to this bridge, this keeper named Acrolis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Acrolis. Yeah.
And we got a big full page spread of them jumping into action, which is a fun page. He's a big Minotaur dude.
Centaur.
What's a Minotaur then?
Minotaur's half man, half bull. Ferdinand, right? In Pages of Wonder Woman. Centaur is the, upper body of a man, lower parts of a horse, right?
I feel like those two words have been interchangeable my entire life. I've never realized.
No, Minotaur is definitely a bull, because that goes to the story of Perseus in the labyrinth.
But why doesn't a Minotaur have two or have four legs still?
Speak to the Greeks.
All right,
I don't know, man. So originally, if you really want, so the original story of the Minotaur was the son of King Minos of Crete, who for reasons was born with this monstrous form. So he locked it in the labyrinth and fed it people to keep it busy. And so when Perseus goes and does all that, right? Perseus, Theseus, one of the two. Yeah. So. But a centaur, definitely a mythological creature from multiple different types. But yeah, front up from the like waist up human, from the bottom is the horse with all four. Seen him in things. But yeah, it's a good fight. Yeah,
Batman's not used to fighting a centaur, as we find out when he stands behind the legs and gets kicked, despite Wonder Woman's warning. So yeah, there's a whole thing, because a big part of it when they arrived here, and it's like a multi-week journey of them getting to this keeper, is he's like, hey, don't you have like a Pegasus that can just fly us to the thing? And she's like, well, that would be kind of a target to be flying here, but also Pegasus is a little bit wary of mortals and humans and doesn't quite trust, which is set up because the big payoff to that is that during this fight, Batman gets kicked off the bridge and is seemingly falling to his death, and you just see like the Pegasus like fly down, and we get a big moment where Batman comes up riding a skeleton Pegasus, which is
with holding his bat axe too.
Yes,
like barbarian Batman rules. Like this is so cool. And also of the never stand behind a centaur. and the way that Bruce looks over and kind of just has this dumb look on his face before the kick happens. Yeah, I heard my great grandpa was like a horseman. He had a horse. He kept out of town, and that was one of the things he always said. He's like, never stand directly behind the horse, right? Because they can't see back there, and they'll kick first. And in fact, he got kicked in the face and had a metal plate in his jaw from a horse. So seeing this, it brought back rules from my childhood of not doing that, and seeing Batman get his clock cleaned and off the bridge. I was like, oh yeah, that is something that great grandpa said.
Yeah. So the big thing here is that the Acrolis, he fires his arrow at Diana, and Batman dives to take the hit, and it takes hits the shoulder or whatever, and Diana goes off to fight the Centaur, gives him a giant punch to the face, knocks him down, and he's all woozy. She actually picks him up over his shoulder, which is also a fun like art moment.
Yep.
So yeah, goes off doing that. But there's like a little woozy moment where he thinks he still sees his dad, and he's like, but wait, I have to, I haven't gotten to say everything I wanted to say, and you just see like Thomas upside down saying goodbye. But the whole thing is that when he wakes up and this like arrow's still kind of sticking in him, he remembers Diana saying all that you need is inside you, and realizes that the thing they were looking for is this arrowhead that he was shot with. Which makes me wonder, is this Centaur, every arrow that he fires, are they all the same thing? Like, are they all going to achieve this?
Yes. Yeah, because Acrolis is like this keeper of this realm, right? But his arrows can also give, things on 2 legs, 4 legs, and things on 4 legs too. So he's almost like this avatar of transformation, which is why also they were there, because this is the thing that can maybe help Croc. So again, I thought that was a fun moment, especially with Bruce and him transforming into Batman. And again, there's all this, overarching narrative.
Yeah, I think what's interesting here is that it's not like a cure that's just going to make him a human. It just means that he's going to be on 2 legs, which is actually a lot more what traditional Killer Croc is. He's just like a humanoid lizard-looking dude, as opposed to the big alligator-looking thing that he is in this.
And I will say, too, I do like them going through all these steps, because when it's just, street thug with a skin condition, right, it kind of takes a little bit away from Croc. But here, he's this monster that has to keep this thing on to keep any of his humanity. I really think that fits the Absolute Universe really well.
Yeah, well, that's just the thing here in the last page, is that it's not like he makes something that Croc can drink and that's it, it's permanent. He gives it to him in the form of a necklace, effectively. And it looks like afterwards, or as soon as he's like picked it up, it looks like his hand's already more kind of human-looking size-wise. So it's like, okay, maybe we'll get a reveal next issue or 2 about what Croc looks like now with this thing on. But it does mean that at any point, if someone rips it off, he'll go back into monster mode, or if he chooses to take it off for a big fight, perhaps, let us say, I don't know, some big monstrous version of Clayface shows up or something, and he's like, oh, well, fire with fire, taking the necklace off, it's time to go monster.
It serves a narrative purpose, too, which is nice.
Yeah.
There's a part here, too, that... Lucius Fox, this is the first time we've seen him in the Absolute Universe?
It's possible. It's very possible back in like issue 1 or 2 when they established he was a building construction worker, that maybe we saw him, but I don't remember the name being brought up, because I think we'd have noticed that and pointed it out. But yeah, his foreman is named Lucius here.
Yeah, and so he tells him, to go out, get some fresh air. He goes, touch some grass, ride a horse, get into a fight, go live life. And those are all things that Bruce actually did do, right? He went out, took touched the grass, for about lack of a term, going into that realm. And he did ride a horse, job to be a skeletal Pegasus, and he fought a centaur. So I really like how that came back around.
Yeah, I feel like the Pegasus might have a problem with counting as a horse. I mean, I'm not just a lowly horse. I'm a Pegasus.
which is why he's wary of mortals, right? Because we're
Yes.
ignorant.
Yeah, honestly, the weirdest thing I can say about this is that I don't think someone of Lucius's age, because even here I'm sure he's supposed to be at least 50. I don't think someone 50 years old saying touch grass. That's like a younger person's saying.
Yeah, but I do believe the sentiment is just get some fresh air.
Oh, sure,
right?
yeah. The meaning behind his words, absolutely. Just the phrase itself just feels like a younger person's thing. But regardless, pretty enjoyable issue. I was actually, I almost didn't think for some of the issue that it was Dragota, just because I don't know if it's just because the location they're in and like the dream sequence or the talking to his dad sequence, they just feel a little bit more clean than Dragota, I feel like, has been up until this point. And I don't know if it's just like an intentional choice because we're in another world, we're doing something that's meant to feel like we're outside of Gotham. There's definitely moments when he's drawing Batman where I'm like, oh, that looks like Dragotta's Batman, right? Because we're so used to seeing that.
I remember from the issues that they did the flashback of the zoo, the past stuff looking this clean. When it's stuff when Bruce is younger. So I feel like that might just be a stylistic point that Dragotta's making. Because I do remember it looking kind of like this. Very similar. But it does. There's a bit of a haziness too, which I like that he brings to this dream realm. Like the way that they're kind of just appear, like floating on the clouds, right? And then when you look down, the coloring kind of stops around their legs. So it almost looks like they're blending into them. Which was, so that ethereal kind of vibe is not something I associate with Dragota, the big, bulky kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think it's also because the backgrounds are so like bright and flat, whereas I feel like typically in Absolute Batman they may be flat because they're just pure black, or they'll be like a lot more scratchier with like buildings in the background or whatever it is. So once they go to this other world and it's a lot of like flat, light colored grays and blues and whatever else, it sticks out a bit.
If you go a couple pages back when Alfred's talking with Croc, and just the difference in the background behind them, right? The partially textured sewer walls, right?
Yeah.
But it's that grayish green and the brick kind of texture. That's definitely what I would associate with Dragota more, right? Kind of this more organic kind of look than the ethereal behind. So, but yeah, there's just like a mist in this whole realm. Because I'm looking at it again, like that splash page of Batman and Wonder Woman going after Archelaus. And yeah, just kind of like you can feel the mist in there. So really good stuff.
Yeah. I suppose I should probably mention the dialogue there, because Archelaus says, what divine joy I shall take in felling you and your mortal mate. To which both Diana and Batman say in unison, we're not together. I thought that was interesting to even put that in, which makes me wonder if they're seeding a potential thing in the future. Like they want us to be thinking about the potential of a Batman Wonder Woman romance at some point. But I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see.
I do think it lands for that part too. And that we're not together. That's something they're joined in on.
Yeah, but it's almost like a foreshadowing thing. Like you have them even confronted with that and having to deny it, because it's like, oh, this will be funny later on when they are kind of starting to,
Yeah.
But hey, if it doesn't end up being the case, that's fine. But they've definitely got the open road to do it, because as much as obviously her and Steve have some kind of relationship, and he has this history with Selina, it doesn't necessarily feel like either of them are ironclad into they're going to stay together and forever in this universe, right? It doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, even in the main universe, Selina doesn't feel like that all the time anyway. So
yeah.
Hey, it is what it is. It was good. I will say, I think between this and the Wonder Woman issue with the crossover, I like the Wonder Woman one a bit more.
Yeah. I think they're both really good, but that one, I felt that one exceeded it being a Wonder Woman issue too, that Batman was guest starring in, and this felt a little bit more like Snyder was like, oh no, I'm going to do some Wonder Woman-y stuff in the pages of Batman,
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm okay with that, because at the very least, I think all of these motivations are all tied into what's going on in the overall story. So I don't think it feels like too disconnected, but I think part of it is just, well, the initial meeting is just more exciting because it's literally the first time they've ever spoken. So this just by it's that nature does not have that. And then on top of that, like you say, the actual kind of like adventure part of it is like way more in the realm of Wonder Woman than it is of Batman. And I think there was more of a balance there and because I wouldn't even say it was more like Wonder Woman in the Wonder Woman issue. I would say it was actually, if anything, 50-50 Batman Wonder Woman, whereas here it feels like Batman is playing in Wonder Woman's playground almost entirely.
Because I kind of wanted to see Wonder Woman in this version of Gotham, right? For as good as this was, going to this in-between realm to fight a centaur wasn't anything I was expecting. I was expecting more of like her coming to Gotham and seeing, how she reacts with Batman and what he goes through, Yeah,
the weird thing is, other than the fact that this is all motivated by Batman's like guilt and wanting to help Croc, it would have almost made more sense if this was the Wonder Woman issue and the other one was the Batman issue. But I mean, it doesn't actually matter that much in the end. Most people are probably reading both, so who cares? And if you are only reading one, you probably read at least the crossover issue because you'd probably feel compelled to.
Yeah, I did like how this started though with that stuff with the with Penguin and Two-Face basically, and the way that we can see them becoming the versions that we expect, right? Just the way that Dragotta draws the direction Harvey's facing, so when it's his non-scarred side, he's facing one direction, it's the other, and the voice changes with the bubbles and whatnot.
Yeah, that's good touch.
I felt like there was more people in the room, and then the way that we can't see all of Oswald's face, right? Like there's something going on down there, he can't eat solid foods yet, so...
I think what I like about it is that I don't think it's a foregone conclusion they're definitely going to become what we think of as traditionally Penguin and Two-Face. It definitely is a possibility, and they might very well just go down that route. But I think there's an interesting thing that's happening right now, is this idea of, like, if they do go down that route, a big part of it is their resentment with Batman, right? And Bruce, and, like, the fact that they feel like he's done this to them, or he's partially responsible because of this crazy world that he's kind of invented that they all have to live in now. But at the same time, there's this kind of hope that if he keeps trying to save them, like there's a hope, like what you're kind of rooting for here, and this issue in particular for him and Croc, is this idea that he's going to try and be there for them, and can he win them over? Do we get to a position where they are still kind of all like frenemies because they're all willing to help? Because I think in the main universe, the closest thing we can compare this to is Catwoman, where she's kind of still a villain in a lot of ways because she's stealing stuff, but she's an anti-hero. She's an ally more than she is anything else past a certain point. And do we get to that point with all of these characters here? Or is it a bit of mix and match? Like, is Croc kind of more on Batman's side now after this, but maybe Penguin is like, no, he's never going to trust Bruce again. He's going down the villain's path now, no matter what. It could be a mix and match, could be a bit of everything, and it could be the sort of thing where they go down the villainous path for a long time, but when we get to, say, issue 50, and like Snyder's like ending his epic long run, maybe at the very, very end, they kind of like pull a face turn and like help save Gotham together or something. Like, I could see all the possibilities forming, down the line.
I always like this though because of Bane, and by extension because of Joker, right? That once they put it together, even down the line, that yes, well, Bruce's decisions led to this happening to them. Joker's ultimately responsible, right? So there's this thing where they're like, you know what? No, Gotham's our town, right? We're gonna stand up for it, and that's where they'll join up with Batman, and that's their childhood friend and all that type of stuff too. So I do like that's built in here to ultimately everything. But yeah, it definitely feels like Oswald has a lot more resentment than some of the other guys, which makes sense considering what happened to him, right? Feels like he's had to completely reshape his body from goo. So the fact that here right now, he's not just like, you know what, don't talk to me. He's going off on him, so I like that, the scene ends where he tells him, you're not him. You're not the hero that you think you are. And Bruce leaves, and Harvey's like, you think that was a bit harsh? And then his other side, it turns the other way. He goes, no, he that's what he deserved. So I do like that there's that undercurrent still going.
Yeah. Well, there you go. What are you giving Absolute Batman?
I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
I think it's just a straight 8 for me. I quite liked it. But yeah, just straight 8.